Hi, you're listening to Behind the Bib podcast with Lisa Watkins. Real talk for every runner. Hey, y'all. Welcome back to Behind the Bib, the podcast for every pace, every runner, and every story. Today, we're talking to Matt Fletcher, the race director for the Heel and Crank Duathlon. That race used to be out in Mooresville, and now it has switched locations to be out in Research Park. They have added a few new things this year, too, that I'm sure you're going to want to tune in for. Quick announcement. So May, I'm not going to be doing as many races. So my daughter is getting married at the end of May, and she came home to prepare for that. So it's kind of taken up a lot of our Saturdays. But don't worry, we'll be back out there starting in June. And I'm still going to be going to the group runs and stuff like that. So I'm going to be on, I think we're going to try to do Fleet Feet on Mondays and pub runs on Wednesdays. And I'm going to try to get out there to Rocket City Runners on Thursdays. So without further ado, y'all take a listen to Matt Fletcher if you're interested in the Heel and Crank Duathlon. Or maybe you're just interested to see what that is. All right, we'll see y'all on the other side. Hey, welcome, Matt.
Hi, how are you doing today?
I'm doing awesome. I actually went running with my daughter and one of my run buddies this morning. We did our normal little route downtown. We park at the lumber yard and we kind of go back through those neighborhoods around 5 Points, and we go up through that through the graveyard by the dead children's playground and all that.
Then you and I ran about the same course because I was doing the
Are you kidding?
Cotton Row preview run this morning. So I previewed the 10K and then the 5K course. Ran with some of
Oh,
my friends up there today.
you did both courses?
Yes, did the 10K first, and then after finishing getting dropped on the downhill section through that, then we decided to run the 5K course and got dropped on that one as well.
Oh,
We run with some spicy people.
I had a race recently where I was actually, I reviewed it on the podcast. I was like, I don't think this is really back of the fat pack friendly. And I was talking to one of my other run buddies. She's like, dude, that race isn't even mid pack friendly. It was spicy. I've talked about the Cotton Row before. Like anybody that's listening, if you're like, hey, I'm going to do Cotton Row 10K this year, you need to go preview that race.
Oh, yes.
You need to have personal experience with that hill.
And the advice I tell everyone on that is walk the hill. The seconds you save trying to run it are not going to be worth it. You walk up that hill and you're
Uh,
going to pass all the people who are puking their guts up at the top of the hill because they ran too hard going up.
it's crazy, right? I know the photographer sits right there and he gets some of the people running up the hill and I'm like, no, that's not my jam.
We
And
love Greg.
right. I think I'm like a fangirl at this point. I talk about him on every
It's hard
podcast.
not to be. The man's amazing. If you're nice to him, he can make you look amazing on a race.
Right? Some of my favorite race pictures of all times. I'm like, how did you even capture that? That's so cool. But I even stopped last year. We do it last year? I can't remember. Maybe it was the year before we did Cotton Row, and my friend lives right there on that hill. And I stopped halfway up the hill and I just talked to my friend. I was like, y'all can go on
That's
because
that's my favorite part about Cotton Row, though, is all the people who live on that hill go out in their front yard and tailgate that. I've
they
never seen
do.
creating a race before.
I,
And they're jamming out, and you can't stop when you hear Eye of the Tiger playing from the seventh speaker in a row.
Right? It is so fantastic. Oh my gosh. I didn't know you did that. So yeah, we were totally down there this morning at the same time. Do you have a favorite post long run where you go to eat or anything?
Costco, actually. I love,
Really?
I get my Costco hot dog, my soda, my chicken bake, and whatever my wife doesn't eat on her pizza.
Oh, that's
And
fantastic.
it's like $6.
Nice. Okay, maybe I'll have to check that out next time because we do the Canadian bacon thing.
Ooh,
Oh my God, all the carbs. And they have this, what's their bagel? Oh, it's called the Fathead. So it's like a chocolate chip bagel and it has bacon and cream cheese and maple syrup on it. It is uh primo.
that sounds
Yes. Okay, so we've already gotten off topic and we're 60 seconds into this interview. It's going
So
great.
perfect.
Okay, so I have not actually met you in person before. So why don't you tell folks like who you are, like what your jam is in the running community or the triathlon community in your case here in North Alabama?
All right, so for those of you who don't know me, I'm Matt Fletcher. I am the current race director of Heel and Crank Duathlon, and my origin in triathlon actually started back between freshman and sophomore year of college.
Oh.
Freshman year of college, I was out of shape, overweight, could barely run a mile, almost
Mhm.
DNF'd a 5K Spartan because I couldn't, running that far was just so difficult to me.
Oh.
And then between freshman and sophomore year, I went on a 57-day backpacking expedition up in Canada called NOLS, National Outdoor
Uh,
Leadership Schools. And I spent 57 days out in a place that was so remote. At one point, the closest people to us were on a satellite that passed overhead. And when I got back from that, I mean, we were eating 5,000 calories a day and still losing weight. To give you an idea of how
Oh my gosh.
physically taxing this was. Well, the good part is that let me get over that initial this sucks hump of running.
I
And the
guess
hump
so.
that blocks everyone from really being able to enjoy running. Well, I
Mhm.
got over that when we were out there, and I still remember my plane from Canada. I lived in North Carolina at the time.
Mhm.
My plane landed at like 10 o'clock at night, and I got home. It was a 30-minute drive home because I got home 10:30, threw on a pair of running shoes, and went out for a 7 mile run nonstop.
No kidding. Are you
And I'm like,
kidding?
this is awesome. I like this. And then also, I had enjoyed learning how much I can eat while you are also doing all this physical activity. And I'm like, this
Nice.
is great. Now I can eat whatever I want. So that was my introduction into triath, or not, that was my introduction into running. I got into running pretty quickly. I did a half marathon and a marathon pretty soon after, a little bit too soon. That's when
Mm.
I started my relation getting to know first name basis of multiple physical therapists. Not for that reason, though. So then over the next year, I ended up signing up for Blood Rock 50K down in Oak Mountain State Park.
Mhm.
Decided, I signed up for the 25K originally and realized I kind of want to go for a little bit more. I feel like I could
Mhm.
easily do 15, but 30 is starting to get up there. Turns out
Uh-huh.
that's one of the hardest 50Ks in the Southeast. This is before they changed the course to make it easier. And so I ran a 50K with 9,000 feet of elevation gain.
Oh my gosh. That had 9,000 feet. Holy
It took
crap.
me 8 hours and 57 minutes, and that still put me, I think, in the top half of finishers.
Oh my gosh. That's
And
intense. That's a lot of elevation gain.
oh, it
That's some
was a
scary.
lot. You were either going straight up a hill or straight down a hill. Maybe there's a little bit of coasting in the middle, but no, it was mostly climbing or descending.
It's really people don't think of North Alabama and North Georgia having mountains like that. We have mountains
It's an
like
800-foot tall mountain. No, this is just a sadistic race director.
oh
He chose to put this much elevation in there. It's an
it
800 foot
wasn't
tall mountain. You're
required.
going straight up, straight down, straight up, straight down, on non-stop.
Oh my God, that's hilarious. Okay, well, I guess it's funny post race, but it's probably
Oh,
not very funny
absolutely.
while you're doing it.
I still remember that was my first time hallucinating during a race. I was running, it was around mile 26, 27 or so, and it's starting to get dark outside, and I see this group of hikers ahead of me, and I come mumble out like an on your left, and then I go through, and then I turn around and no one's there. And I'm like, okay, I probably need to eat something.
You know what? I follow a lot of ultra runners, and like some of my friends are ultra runners. They've never talked about the hallucination. You were the first person that I've talked to that had full-blown hallucinations during their ultra. So you saw a pack of like a pack of hikers, like people,
They
and
weren't there.
they weren't there.
I
Oh
think it was
my God.
trees.
That's crazy. Was that the only one you had? And also,
Um,
you said my first time hallucinating during a race, which indicates that there's been
I've
more.
had some light ones when I went back for Blood Rock 50, because the 50K wasn't hard enough. So a few years later, so I'll get to that one in a second.
Okay.
Blood Rock 50K, did that one, and then I'm trying to remember where. Oh, so I had gotten into this was start of between sophomore and junior year. My mom had a road bike. And I said, "Hey, I do like mountain biking, but could I try taking a road bike down to
Mhm.
college so I can bike around a little bit?" And I was
Mhm.
taking it out around campus around UAH one evening, and the UAH cycling club was doing laps around, and they said, "Hey, come join us." And
Mhm.
this is my second time on a road bike.
Oh.
I've just done mountain biking up to that point. And I start doing some laps, and I'm like, wow, this is actually kind of fun. And I pick up a bike on Craigslist, do some more
Mhm.
biking, pick up a tri bike because I found an insanely good deal on one.
Mm.
The great part about living in an engineering city, you have a bunch of engineers who will buy a new tri bike and then realize, oh shoot, I actually have to train on this thing. Ew, never mind. And then sell it for a lot less. And so
Yep.
I got an amazing good deal on a new tri bike. Well, this bike is in the shop one day, just getting some general maintenance done.
Mhm.
This is on like a this is on a Thursday afternoon, and they say, "Oh, are you doing the race this weekend?" And I'm like, "No, what race per se?" They said,
Uh-huh.
"Oh, Goose Pond Half Ironman. It's out in Scottsboro. You should. Are you signed
You
up?"
should
And
totally do that.
I pull up my phone. There's still one slot available, and I figure that's a sign. And so I say, I got nothing better to do this weekend. Let's try this. And so I enter in for a half Ironman with less than 36 hours notice.
Oh my God.
And I
I honestly
finished
can't imagine that.
10th overall. I finished in 5 hours and about 5 hours and 11 minutes.
Wow. Did you have fun?
Oh, it was a blast. I had so much fun. I realized that I'm actually pretty good at the swimming part. I grew up swimming. I could swim basically before I could walk.
Oh.
Most parents teach their kids to swim by putting the floaties on them, letting them
Mhm.
float around them. My mom took a very different approach. Mine was swim.
Oh my gosh.
Hey, it
And
worked.
seemed
I
to turn out okay for you.
Oh yeah, I can swim pretty well compared to and the thing I tell people is your typical triathlete doesn't like swimming. Your typical triathlete is actually pretty bad at swimming. They're generally either a runner or a biker who, if thrown in the water, won't immediately drown, just a little bit later.
It won't immediately drown. That's hilarious. I've done two sprints and that's it. I'm not the bike part is not my jam. I
Hmm.
like the swim part and I like the run part. But the bike part, I'm like, this is, I don't know. I just didn't grow up doing it. I don't do it a lot. I was one of the people that like did the great bike and then sold the bike and then did the things. And so now I don't have a bike. It's fine. But maybe you can convince me to get back into the bike part because I
You can still
never
have the
true
heel and crank.
yeah, right. Why not just do the race as part of um like I never got comfortable just riding. I just didn't feel secure. You know how some people would be like they can reach down and grab water bottles and take their goos and do all the things. Nope, can't do it. I don't know if that's like, and I also can't rollerblade. So maybe just on wheels is, or roller skate, maybe just on wheels is not my jam. I don't know. But
Fair enough. Hey, everyone's got their thing.
true statement, true statement. Okay, so that's how you got into triathlons, right?
Yes.
And
And then I discovered Team Rocket Tri Club. Shout
the
out.
shirt, nice shirt. Okay.
And they're the local triathlon club in Huntsville, and they put on several races throughout the year. And that is, let's see, so that would have been 2020 is when I did my first Goose Pond because it was in September because they moved it from May due to COVID.
Oh yeah.
And so let's see, then yeah, the next year is when I started signing up for all the various races.
Mm-hmm.
And I realized how much fun triathlon was.
Cool.
I'm a pretty good runner, but when I show up to a straight running race,
Mm-hmm.
I have no shot at an overall podium because there's people who are just like all they do is run. Same
Mm-hmm.
with the biking race. I did a little bit of biking in college, and I still remember I showed up to an Auburn cycling race and I got pushed up to the front of the pack and accidentally pulled the entire pack for 34 miles of a 40-mile race. And then they proceeded to drop me, and I got second from DFL.
Oh wow.
So, and that's the same thing. I'm a good biker, but compared to the average person who's 5'4" and a buck 20, and I'm sitting here at 6'0", 190, I can't exactly hold my place on a road bike. But then
No.
you go into triathlon and now you're averaging across sports. I got the wingspan for swimming, I have the leg size for biking, and I have the heat tolerance for running. And
Very
so I
cool.
realized that triathlon was really a sport that I could really enjoy.
Hmm.
Plus, now instead of only running, I'm cross training all the time.
Yeah, true statement, right? Because you're doing all three all the time. Yeah. So, okay. Um, we talked a little bit about you. What inspired you? Like, how did the transition take place? Because we talked a little bit before, and you said this is your first year race directing for the Heel and Crank, right? So, what inspired you? How did that transition take place?
So Donna Ruiz, she has been an amazing race director for several years prior, and
Mm-hmm.
she was ready to retire from the chaos, so to speak. She's done an amazing job for several years, but they were ready to pass the torch and bring
Mm-hmm.
in a little bit more fresh energy.
Uh-huh.
And so I shadowed them last year to learn kind of some of what does being a race director entail,
Mm-hmm.
and it went pretty well. I learned a lot of what goes into race directing, and then they said, "Here you go. Here's the reins. Here's everything. Go for it." And we will. And the amount of support I have received from the club
Mm-hmm.
at, while I'm doing my first time race directing has been
Mm-hmm.
amazing. It's definitely
Oh,
a
good.
challenge, but I'm honored to keep that tradition going while
Mm-hmm.
putting a little bit of my own spin on the race, just the way every race does.
Sweet. So let's talk about that. So let's talk about how this race is different than other ones. I think I've only heard of maybe one other run bike run, maybe, which
Probably
is like
racing the station.
race in the station
Mhm.
and with Kent Criswell, that race director. So tell us how this race is either different than other races in the local area or what you have in common. Tell us a little bit about that.
So one of the biggest things that we want to make sure Heel and Crank is beginner friendly.
Okay,
There,
cool.
we want to make sure that it is welcoming to people of all ages, all abilities. So we offer things like relay options. If you have someone who can run or someone who can bike and you don't like biking or running, you can do it as a team effort, and it's great. You get to avoid the sport that you don't like. Also have we are pushing our cutoffs as long as we possibly can. We actually changed our second run course to be different to allow for a longer cutoff time from the city.
Nice.
So
Okay.
our second run will be on a different course that allows us to keep that open as long as possible and give you as much time as we are able to give you an opportunity to finish.
Oh, that's fantastic. So what's the total course time then?
So our course layout as of now
Hmm.
it is a 3.1 mile run for
Hmm.
the start when that is partnered with the Big Run Madison.
Oh, nice.
And then our bike is an 11.1 mile course. It is three loops around Research Park, which means there's no stopping, no turning. It is just go. So there's no
Okay.
stoplights, no U-turns, right angle turns, anything like that. It is just a straight racetrack for you.
Huh.
And
Okay.
then our last run keeps it. This is all run around the interior of Research Park. Our last run is around one of
Mhm.
the lakes over by Adtran. It's on Adtran's campus. Adtran was very generous to let us use their facilities as part of our transition area.
Yeah, I think I know where that's at. It's like maybe, is that across the street from like CFD research and
I
out there?
believe so. We're on the south side of the loop, kind of next
Yeah,
to Davis area.
I know where that like yes, we've run over there before.
Mhm.
So, okay, cool. Okay, so you talked about the race is open to a little bit. It's you extended the cutoff time, so that's fantastic. Do you know the averages, like what you got to average per the first run, the bike, or anything like that?
Not as of yet. We are still working with the city to determine our official times that we have to
Hmm.
use to
Yeah.
because we have to. The city is very
Mhm.
important to us.
I
They
know.
provide so much help and support. We want to make sure that we are being supportive of them
Of
and
course.
keeping them happy.
Of course, of course. I've always said race directing is like, honest to God, one of the hardest things that you can possibly do. And my hat goes off to every single race director out there. I know it is a hard, hard thing. And there's a fine line. like one of the things I want behind the bib to be able to do is to provide a little bit of a smaller or remove the barrier of entry for folks that are trying to get into the sport that might have just been coming back so that they can understand what's out there for them,
Mhm.
like, so that's one of the reasons why I like to talk to race directors is give us the down low on the course, like what's the elevation like, what are the cutoff times like, what are, so that folks that are listening are like, I could totally do that. Or, maybe not one for me, maybe a goal or a stretch race or something like that. Maybe not a beginner one, but it sounds like yours is totally beginner friendly.
As someone who is a major fan of flat courses, again, refer back to the 60190 comment from
Yeah,
earlier. I
yeah,
like flat. Gravity and me are not very good friends.
got it.
So I keep my race courses as flat as humanly possible.
Very nice, very nice.
And
So, okay, let's talk about I was reading the sign up page and you have added something new to the course this year. So it's not just about the first finishers, you've added a new award. What's the new award?
so we know all the races, every race gives an award for coming in first place. Some
Uh-huh.
races will give you an award for being in last place, the
Hmm.
wonderful DFL award. But this year we decided to change it up a little bit, and this will be the DFM award, which you can extrapolate, but it is the person who finishes closest to the middle finish time of
Nice.
all the finishers out there. And so this is a beautiful opportunity for some people have told me they're like, I know I'm never going to be on the podium. Well, congratulations. Now you get an opportunity.
Hmm.
You're looking for the most average runner out there. And that's yet another place where we're trying to make this race very beginner friendly as well, is you don't have to be the fastest to get an award. There is an opportunity for you.
That's one of the reasons why I love costume races because I love to dress up. And I can usually throw down for a good costume, right? But I'm a true back of the pack racer or back of the pack runner and I love it. And I love every race that we've done. And absolutely, I love the fact that you have instated the dead freaking
Middle. That's great.
middle award. That is fantastic. So it's the first year you've done that then.
Mhm.
What
It
did oh, go ahead.
it's the first year trying it.
Uh,
I've never had a race do this before,
I've
but
never seen it
it
either.
sounded like a really fun idea.
Uh,
And given that it's our first year, might as well try that little extra new thing in there.
cool. Why not? Do you know what the age group awards and the
So
DFM award looks like?
So our awards are actually designed by a local artist. They
Oh, cool.
are, if I remember correctly, it is an engraved wood and plastic award. They're handmade awards for the overall winners of each age group and the
Uh,
overall winners. We
oh,
also
neat.
have very generous prizes coming in from Fleet Feet for
Oh, nice.
sports.
Nice. That's fantastic. All right, so we talked a little bit earlier about your entry into triathlons and the races that you did before. If you think back over your like racing, running, tri career, so you said you started, what year did you really
2020, about fall 2020 would have been my intro to multisport.
multi-sport? So, but before the 5K that the Spartan 5K, and then you went to Canada.
That would have been, I would have gotten into that, let's see, 2017, 2018, started 2018, probably fall 2018 to early 2019 was where I really just started to take off.
Okay, so 2018, 5, 6, 7, 8. So about 8 years or so.
Oh, God, don't
Yeah,
feel
and
old
how
like
young
that.
did that make you feel?
I'm still 20.
Yeah, quit counting years, Lisa.
Oh, God. Yeah,
Yeah, my
26.
middle child is getting married at the end of this month, if that makes you, yeah, it's like it just flies by and keeps getting faster. But that's aside. When you look back over those past years, do you have a favorite memory? Do you have a favorite anything of the races I mean, hallucinating has got to be up there, but like, is that the?
No, there's two that really come to mind, and
Hmm.
ironically, both of them were actually one of them was at Goose Pond. I'm trying to think of where the other one was. So one of them was everyone always hears the rule, don't try anything new on race day.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Well, every single person is going to be like, I know I've heard that rule, but I'm better than that, and that rule doesn't apply to me. And so that is
But
where
this
I learned.
doesn't count.
I was doing a triathlon, Goose Pond half Ironman, and I didn't sleep well the night before.
Mm.
Got to eat dinner. I
Oh,
overheated on the swim because I was using a wetsuit to try and save myself a little bit of time because I was trying to go for an overall win. And I cook myself on the swim. I come out in the lead by 4.5 minutes. And it was my fastest swim ever. Well, I'm taking off my wetsuit and my leg cramps. I'm like, okay, no problem. I'm on the bike. We can do this. Well, on my bike, all of my nutrition was between my arms, which required me to have my face down. And I couldn't get down that far because my hamstring was still cramping so badly. So I grit my teeth and bear it. And for 56 miles, I do not have a single drop of water and take one gel.
oh
Which, yes, it was a terrible idea, but I had go fever. I was wanting to go for it. Well, the
my God.
bike goes terribly, as you would probably
Yeah, go figure. You
well,
need like fuel and water.
yeah, well, yeah. In my head, I'm like this. Okay, I'm a good runner. Running is where I started. I'm
Uh-huh.
gonna save it on the run.
Okay.
Well, I've gotten some new gels in, and I put one. I hadn't tried them yet because they had 200 milligrams of caffeine in them. I am a wimp when it comes to caffeine. I can take 30 milligrams of caffeine and feel a buzz.
Are you kidding? Wow,
So I
that's
took
like half a cup of
200
coffee.
milligrams of caffeine from a Science and Sport gel and take that around mile 5 on the run, which was going okay at that point. Well, around mile 6.5, I am on my hands and knees puking my guts up on the side of the course.
Oh my God, of course you are. That caffeine hit
Like
your
drag me
stomach.
up.
It was empty, first of all.
Oh, I was empty. As my wife calls it, a good old boot and rally.
Oh,
Yep,
oh my
I'm
God.
saying my stomach is empty. There's nothing left. And I stand up, kind of wobble my way a little bit, get back in the rhythm, and still got second in my age group.
Hey, okay, all right. Well, did
So
you?
that was my experience of here's what you don't do during a race, and it's why I have never tried something new on race day. Now,
Yeah, very. The most that I've ever tried, I haven't done it yet, except one time. Boy, those two statements completely contradicted each other. I haven't done it yet, except one time. So, I did do it one time, and it was recently during the dueling banjos. I never run my race tee. I never wear the tee.
it's bad luck.
It's bad luck, right? Now, there's some people that are like, nah, that's just superstitious, whatever, but I never wear the tee. I actually wore it, and it's so superficial why I wore it. I have this bright green rain jacket. And I was like, that's a dark green t-shirt. That's gonna look really cute. That's straight up the reason why I wore the race shirt. It's fine. It's fine. It was fine. It was a dry fit. I knew it wouldn't chase, and I had my pack anyway, and I had some Body Glide, and I was like, yeah, it'll be okay. That's literally
Banjo's is a
the
fun race, though.
it was. I don't know. I definitely didn't run up that hill. I know that some people did. I know several people that did actually, but I didn't do that. I hiked that front
Hey,
side.
remember, it's never walking, it's power hiking.
It's power
It's
hiking.
something I
I
learned from ultra running. You never walk during a race, you power hike.
power hike. I absolutely power hike that all the way to the top.
I did my best to run. I was sitting in second place. Lottenhauser was in front of me, and
Uh-huh.
I was maybe 10 meters off and going into the woods. And we run for about 30 seconds. I look up, he's gone.
Yeah, you're like,
And yeah, no, turns out he gapped me by over 4 minutes on that run up. Um,
oh, nice.
refer back to my earlier thing about me and gravity don't get
Mm.
along.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I get
I
that.
do well with gravity on the way down, not on the way up.
No, on the way up. Yeah. I just did the Teardrop Half Marathon in North Georgia, and that's a net negative race. You start at the top and you do a couple of loops or one full loop around Fort Mountain, and then you do 5.5 miles up there, and then you do seven, like right at seven. So not quite 5.5 on the top, and then seven on the way down. But the top, it's not all downhill because the top is like is it's not even rolling hills. There's some pretty steep climbs in there.
I guess the race director called it Rolling Hills, though.
Yeah, it totally. And they
Oh,
did, I did do an episode on that, but it was pretty funny. They had signs like on the uphills that said, "We told you it wasn't all downhill."
I
You're
appreciate
like,
the honesty now.
yeah. It was like, okay, we figured. I didn't realize it was this uphill, but yeah, absolutely. Okay, so let's talk about the actual race details of the heel and crank. Let's get into time, day, packet pickup, race registration, all the things. And if you have any things that are like specific to, I saw that there might be a headphone thing with the cycling section. So let's talk about those specific details of the heel and crank.
Absolutely. So, yeah, Heel and Crank this year will be held on June 7th, starting at 8 a.m. It will be held out in Research Park in Adtran. I believe it's 300 Explorer Boulevard or 900, one of the two.
Okay.
But regardless, it will be held at Adtran. That address is on our website.
Okay.
Let's see. So it is run, bike, run. We will start with a 5K run.
Mhm.
That will be combined with the big run Madison. So that'll be 3.11 miles around the beautiful Helix Trail up there, which is basically a requirement for any
I know, I
races
love that
in
one.
the area. We'll
Hmm.
be running around the outside of that. We're not going to make you do all the little crossing
Hmm.
in the middle. That would just
Yeah.
be um We'll get back to transition. We'll do a three-loop bike course around Research Park Loop, Explorer Boulevard. Then you'll get back and you'll pop on your shoes for another, it's closer to about a 2 mile run.
Okay.
And so that second shorter run will also encourage some better race strategies from some of the leading people because you'll be able
Hmm.
to really push that bike a lot harder now that you only have to make it 2 miles. So
Okay.
that was also part of the thinking going into that.
Okay. Interesting.
Um,
Got it.
Packet pickup will be held around, that will be held at Fleet Feet Madison on
Hmm.
Friday. That will be from 10 to 6, depending on on our volunteer opportunities, but
Hmm.
it will be on Friday during the day at Fleet Feet Madison.
Okay.
We'll also have race morning packet pickup as well. However, we encourage all of our athletes to get their packet the day before to
Hmm.
give you a lot more time and flexibility morning of the race.
Yeah.
Let's see, the bike racks will be first come, first serve. We're not going to do numbered bike slots. So earlier you
Okay.
get there, you get your pick on bike racks when transition opens.
Uh,
Which transition will open at 6 a.m.
Go ahead. Sorry.
So one of the big things about Heel and Crank as well is that the proceeds from this race are donated to the ALS Association,
Oh,
as the
awesome.
race has always been. This race is in memory of one of our athletes back probably 10, 15 years ago, well before my time. But that's
Hmm.
where this race originally started, was in
Oh,
Race.
wow.
And so it moved out to Mooresville for several years. And
Hmm.
now we moved it back into the Research Park area to honor its original placement.
Gotcha. Do you do race day sign up?
For we will not do race day sign up just due
Yeah.
to how insurance works.
Yeah, no, I totally get that.
The last day to sign up will be on at the Big Run Huntsville on June 4th
June.
at John Hunt Park. Yep, we will have a tent there. We will have sign up opportunity there, and that
Oh,
would be your last opportunity to sign up for Heel and Crank.
I think I'm going to be there too. I think I'm going to have Suzanne reached out and said, "Hey, is behind the bib want to come over?" And I'm like, yeah, maybe. It'll be the week like after my daughter's wedding, which obviously is like a lot of things. So I'm thinking I might go set up there too. And I'm brand new, and so my setup just means I'll be standing out there and probably wearing green.
Hey, if it works, it works.
Okay, are there any special rules this year for the race that runners and athletes need to be cognizant of?
Yes, do we have one? This is a new rule instated after several talks with other athletes at various
Mhm.
races, is that there will be no headphones allowed on the bike, and this will be strictly enforced.
Okay.
without any of the standard loopholes of, oh, but my AirPods are in transparency mode. Oh, but they're not technically in my ears because they're bone conducting. I
Oh,
have seen
shocks.
every attempt at a loophole you can think of. But the biggest reason why we want to do this is one, safety. I'm a
Hmm.
new race director. I have yet to fill out an incident report. I would really like to keep it that way.
Yeah.
And so headphones do, especially given that we're on a multi-lap course, I want every athlete to be able to hear, hey,
Hmm.
someone's coming up behind me. I want everyone to be able to hear on your left.
Hmm.
And not only just for that, but also we have volunteers that will be directing you where to go. And we want to make sure that you are able to hear our volunteers. They
Hmm.
are out there giving their time up to help make
Hmm.
this race go amazing.
Hmm.
And we want to make sure you can hear that. Also, the energy on the course, there's going to be spectators, there's going to be people
Yay.
cheering, and we want to make sure, I want to let you really hear that.
Hmm.
And if you're, don't get me wrong, I jam out to music all the time. I have Netflix set up in front of my bike trainer, but I want to make sure that everyone's really hearing that race day energy and really being able to be in the moment for that race.
No, I totally get it. I totally get it. And safety is the thing, right? And if you've got a multi-loop course and being able to hear on your left is probably pretty important because bikes go a lot faster than feet do. So, yeah, I totally get that. All right. So, before we wrap up this session, let's talk a little. I always like to ask, and I've actually forgot. I could kick myself, but I forgot on the last episode. Um, but I'd like to ask everybody that comes on behind the bib because we all have something to offer, right? Do you have a piece of advice for someone that is willing, or not willing, but wanting to get into triathlons or just wanting to get more active? Like it doesn't have to be triathlons. You started with running and then you started, actually, you started in Canada, is where you really started, right? So, do you have like one piece of advice for folks that might be listening that just need like a little something? And actually, it doesn't even have to be for beginners. It can be totally for folks that have been doing this 20 years.
Absolutely. My biggest thing I would say is join the group workouts. Team Rocket Tri Club, we put on our Tuesday night brick. And so
Uh-huh.
on the Arsenal, it's a group ride. So you can ride with groups that are separated by speed. We have anywhere from, if you have to ask, we are going too fast for you, to no rider left behind. If you have to drop off the back, we'll have someone drop with you, make sure that you get back.
Hmm.
That's again where we're trying to keep it very welcoming and open to beginners. But because you're out there with the group,
Hmm.
you get to maybe push yourself a little bit harder. Maybe you get to learn a little something about,
Hmm.
hey, here's a place you can improve your form if you want.
Yeah.
And so Tuesday Night Brick is one of the things I look forward to every summer. We do those Tuesday nights at 5:30 on the Arsenal.
On the Arsenal. Where do you meet out there? Is it at
Gate
the
9 Visitor
commissary?
Center.
What was that?
Gate 9 Visitor Center.
Gate 9 Visitor Center. Okay, and so
Right
you
out there.
cycle into the Arsenal then? You meet at the visitor center and they let you go on
Yep.
into the.
With a
Oh,
rec
cool.
pass or
Mhm.
a CAC gets you on base. You can
Uh-huh.
get a rec pass for free from the visitor center, and it allows you access to some of the best biking in Huntsville because
True
sometimes there
statement.
are more bikes than cars on the Arsenal,
That's true
especially like on
statement.
a weekend. It is
Hmm.
amazing, beautiful, flat, good conditioned roads.
Hmm.
It is one of my favorite places to ride outside in all of Huntsville, and I've ridden a good amount of Huntsville.
Oh, nice. Yeah, you're not lying. Because it really is. We run out there too. I love that. I love that greenway, the trail, the walking
Mhm.
trail, whatever it is, because we can do long runs forever out there. You can just go forever.
Mhm.
So before we go, tell people what a brick is then, because they may not know.
So a brick ride is one of the most fun parts of training for triathlon. That is fun in very big air quotes right there.
Okay.
So when you're biking, your cadence is around, you'll typically be biking around 85 to 90 cycles per minute. Well,
Okay.
when you're running, you'll be bumping that up to around 175 to 180. And because your legs have gotten used to that slower cadence, when you hop off the bike and get on the run, you're not having to double your leg speed. And the first time you hop off the bike and immediately get into the run, it will feel like someone has duct tape bricks to your legs. Hence the wonderful name of a brick ride.
Oh, that's where it got its name from. I knew it was the combination of the two. I didn't know the origination of the term. Interesting.
And I will
Because
say, it never hurts less. You just get faster.
it never gets easier, you just get stronger.
Hmm.
Right? Same thing. It never hurt. What'd you say? It never hurts
It never
less.
gets easier. You just get faster. Yep. Never
You
hurts
just get
less.
faster. That's right. Well, Matt, this has been a wonderful time talking to you. It's Saturday evening while we're talking. I don't know if it's raining over where you are, but
It's
it's
been raining the
pouring
whole
over.
time.
Yeah, I know. It's kind of crazy, right? And it's cold out there right now. So,
Better than 85 or 90.
yeah, right. We put it off a little bit longer, but you didn't have to do this. Thank you for coming on here and talking about Heel and Crank. You might have talked me into it, especially with that relay option. But I'll have to find somebody with a bike
Of
now.
course, yeah. That is the other great part about the triathlon community is on all the various Facebook pages around Huntsville, Run
Mhm.
256, we run Huntsville, we run downtown Huntsville,
Oh,
Cycling Club, any of those. You
uh-huh.
can post on there and say, "Hey, I'm looking to do this race. I don't have a bike. Is there
Yeah.
someone who could let me borrow theirs?"
Oh,
I
yeah. I'm not
tell you,
looking to borrow one. I'm looking for someone to ride it.
that's the
Let's get
great part.
that part clear.
You can find pretty much anything because of the amazing welcoming community that the Huntsville multisport community is. Everyone is incredibly welcoming and
That's awesome.
wanting to help anyone get into the sport. If you want to get into it, we will help you.
Awesome. That's wonderful. Well, Matt, it has been a true joy talking to you this afternoon. Remind folks one more time when the race is and how to sign up.
Heel and Crank is on June 7th, and you can find us on Facebook, Team Rocket Tri Club, or our website, teamrockettri.org.
Mhm.
And all of the race information is available on there. And we definitely would
Fantastic.
love to see I would love to see every one of you guys out there. We'd love to make this race as amazing as it can be.
Awesome. Well, it sounds like it really will be. And hopefully I will be there.
Hopefully.
All right. Well, you guys heard Matt, and maybe we'll see him the next time that he's behind the bib. And thank you so much, Matt, for being on here. We'll see
Of
you
course.
later.
Thank you so much.
All right. Take care.
Thank you. Bye.
Oh my gosh. Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful conversation with Matt. Matt, thank you so much for coming on Behind the Bib and talking about Heel and Crank, the upcoming duathlon that's out in Research Park. That sounds like a lot of fun. And if I could find somebody to do the bike portion, I would totally be down to do a relay for that. So, and folks, really cool. Matt actually offered if you are wanting to sign up for the Heel and Crank, there is a code called Behind the Bib. Which, that's kind of what you're listening to right now is Behind the Bib. That's me. That's my jam, right? $5 off of your sign up if you use code Behind the Bib. And you can do the duathlon as well. And if you're in the Huntsville area and you want somebody to do the run portion and you've got the bike portion down, I would be game. So hit me up. Okay, let's talk about the upcoming races in the Huntsville area. On May the 15th, we've got the Harry Williams All Comers Track Meet, sponsored by Huntsville Track Club. Also on May 17th, we've got the Caribbean Carnival 5K. Also on the 17th, we've got the Rotary Club of Madison 0.5K. That's the Couch Potato 0.5K. That's in Madison, Alabama. And then on May 26th, you heard Matt and I talk about the Cotton Row Run. He previewed it this morning. He did the 10K and 5K courses. And I've said it on the last 4 episodes. But if you are planning on doing the Cotton Row 10K and it is your first time doing that race, please do not wait until the day of the race to go run that race. Go preview it. You need to check out the hill. Your first experience with that hill does not need to be during the race. That can be your second one, but it shouldn't be your first one. All right. And then here, like May 26th is it. And then we're rocking and rolling right on into June, because June 4th, we've got the Big Run 5K. There is one out in Madison as well on June the 7th. It's going to be happening in conjunction with, guess what? The Heel and Crank Duathlon, what we just talked to Matt about. So those are a few of the upcoming races here in the Huntsville area. And if you happen to know of more races, I go out there and try to like sleuth it from different websites. I go on Fleet Feet, Huntsville Track Club, Run Sign Up, Ultra Sign Up. Like I go to all these different places. So if there's a race coming up that I haven't mentioned that you think that I should mention on Behind the Bib, let me know. And I'm happy to call it out. Okay, folks, that's all for episode 18. Holy cow, episode 18. How cool is that? I am so stinking lucky to be able to do this. I appreciate all of you for being here. Do me a favor, though. Check out Behind the Bib podcast on Instagram, Behind the Bib on Facebook. I post all kinds of stuff on there, as well as Behind the Bib podcast on YouTube, where you can see the whole entire video of these interviews and race reviews, if you so desire. Thanks so much for being here. Let's keep showing up for one another, whether you're first or last or somewhere in between. I'll see you next time. We're Behind the Bib. Y'all take care. See you later.